PR Connections Radio presents Ethics Realty is a full-service real estate agency that provides a service for finding the ideal property for residential, commercial, and investor-centered clients. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned buyer or investor, they provide service to all and listen to understand your goals and needs. For more information about their wealth and investment-centered services, call 702-518-1606 or visit their website, ethicsrealty.net.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Evelyn's Roundtable. This podcast highlights a host of relevant topics. Our conversations share voices of women of color, Black women veterans and veterans, allies, candidates, and elected officials, entrepreneurs, teachers, students, and others. We also explore important issues and challenges such as grassroots leadership, job training, homelessness, and mental health advocacy, accountability, male inclusion, and civics. Our mission statement is to empower all women. Do you hear me? All women to hold hands as we rise. Well, look, everyone, who we have on here today. All y'all need to probably see this interview that we're about to do over and over repeatedly. This man has did so much for this city, in this state. After you hear about all the things and all the lives that he's saved in this state, and the reason why we say Vegas stronger, it's such a pleasure to have you on here. I am so thankful that you're doing this, and I think it's important to get your voice out here for all of us to hear what you're doing out here and what you're in being in the trenches like you are. And just thank you again for coming on here. And can you please just tell everybody who you are and how you got that doctor in front of your name?
Thank you, Evelyn. As usual, you are a delight. My name's Dave Marlon, and I've been a 37-year Las Vegas resident. And I work at a nonprofit that I founded about 10 years ago called Vegas Stronger. And we're right on 916 North Main Street. We help between 50 and 100 new people walk in each week, and we help them address mental illness, substance use disorders, and homelessness. And we try with an integrated behavioral healthcare approach to help them return to self-sufficiency. Wow. I
really, and I'm just going to say this, and I'm not saying this because I like you, but I believe those numbers are higher than that. I think sometimes because we get so used to, we're doing everything and people are coming and going and all of that. And I really, and I'm not just trying to make you look good, but I know in that area that you're in right there. And again, it's Washington and Maine where he's talking about everybody. It's a lot of traffic right there. I mean, we ain't talking like traffic once in a while. No, we talking traffic all the time right there where you're at. And I just think that was such a great idea. That a vision, not even idea, the vision that you had to do that. So how did you come up with that vision?
It's sort of a long story, so you're going to have to cut me off. But,
okay.
But 20 years ago, I opened a drug rehab in Las Vegas called Solutions Recovery. And I grew that to be a 400-bed treatment center, and we help thousands of people. I used to call it commercial populations, people from Green Valley and Summerlin. We help thousands of them address opiate use disorders, amphetamine use, alcohol. We help people get clean and sober. After doing that, I sold that company in 2016, and I retired again. And when I retired, I realized that we had a homelessness crisis, and it really was a result of our opioid and our addiction epidemic and that there was a tremendous amount of crossover. So I teamed up with some of the old employees and partners at Solutions, and we opened up Vegas Stronger. We started treating patients 8 years ago, and we've been steadily growing. There's now 130 employees on the team, and we've helped thousands of people get off the street and cease an addiction that they couldn't overcome on their own. And nothing makes me happier, nothing makes me prouder than seeing someone get free from addiction, become self-supporting, become the mom or the dad to their kids again, making not only themselves proud, but their families, going back to work. I love what I get to do. And I recognize it's also helping to lift up Las Vegas.
Well, it is. And that's the other part where I say this about Nevada women in trades, and you're making them part of society again. They're paying taxes again. They're taking their money is taking part of the building, the economics that Vegas is having. And we're not just talking about on the strip. We're talking about off the strip too. And I think that empowers a person that has not done that. And then all of a sudden they're doing it again. Right. So you do a whole lot more than just changing, like you said, the life. You're actually contributing to the state economy too, and which is very important because that's what helps everything else in this town move, right? You need people to have jobs. You need people to pay for things, We don't have robots yet, but somewhere down the line, we'll talk about that another time.
Sounds good. I realize that we help thousands of people get off drugs, off alcohol, address mental illnesses, and be self-supporting again. But to me, when somebody comes in homeless, if I could help them address their mental illnesses, become clean and sober, getting them connected with you, getting them connected with the trades, it's one thing to lift them out of a mental health issue. It's another thing to lift them out of poverty. And getting them plugged into the trades helps get them out of poverty. So the two of us have a symbiotic relationship, which helps lift up Las Vegas.
Yes, I have to agree with you. And I call it the walking and chewing gum at the same time thing because even if they have a job, it doesn't matter if they're having these other things that are happening in their life, right? Right. I mean, even if you don't do and take care of yourself as far as mental health, but if you don't have a job, it doesn't mean anything either. Right. So they almost kind of like they do the little swish thing, and
they do. There's a symbiotic relationship because also some people who get into the trades, start earning some money and then they get into trouble then. Big time. And helping to be able to dust them off and help them, get into recovery and be self-supporting again. That's actually an easier lift. It's easier to take somebody who has a skill and a trade and a job, help them address maybe a amphetamine use disorder and then get them back to work. That's a different task than a person who's been unhoused for a long period of time. And we need to help them address their health issues, address their substance use disorder. Then, we got to get them into an apprenticeship program or somehow they have to learn a trade. That's a much heavier lift.
I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, that is that, isn't it? I have something personal that I'm dealing with, and it's my son, and he's been off and on the streets, and it's interesting how trying to go from being homeless to here, you need to do this. Now it's been a harder task than I thought. Then, like you said, if you already had that skill, it's right. Kind of almost like, oh, okay, I'm doing this now. I can just jump over there. But if you don't have that skill, then it's hard. Yeah,
it is, especially with the younger generations who have more of a immediate gratification. It's hard to say, hey, good news. if you work real hard for 5 years, you could become a journeyman, or you could work through it. They'll listen to you like 5 years or 3 years, whatever the program is. It's hard for them to get their head around it and be willing to do that consistent work.
No, it is. Oh no, you're so. Oh yes, yes. Because people say you did 5-year apprenticeship. Well, yeah, I did 5 years, and I journeyed out, and I made good money, and I went here, but 5 years, I'm like, you got to work anyways. What do you mean?
But plus the level of training, the level of experience that you had, to be able to represent a 525, that's substantial, and it means something. I don't want to jump ahead, but since I'm seeking public office, I'm looking more and more at municipal projects, work we were doing. I'm looking at some of the projects that are happening, and everybody wants a quality job. Everybody wants to not have construction defect, but when it's time to do the math to begin these projects, there's too often we think about using unskilled labor as opposed to people who've been trained, who've been an apprentice, who've journeyed out, who are have the experience, training, and backing of a union.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you're right. It is about money. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why pay $15 when I can pay $1? But then you don't get the same quality.
Right.
And you just don't. I don't care. And believe me, I've talked to people that want to do non-union or are doing non-union, and then I say, well, where's the benefits at? And then that's when the whole conversation starts changing, right? And even with me, I call it 2 checks. So I get my pension like I'm having now, but then once I turn 60, 65, I get another pension. So I get 2 pensions with 525.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is. That's how many. I mean, that doesn't happen very often.
Well, it doesn't happen except in the unions, and it's imperative, especially with AI changing things. It's imperative that people have a livable wage in Las Vegas. I'm concerned that Las Vegas is the worst in urban unemployment. And I recognize that that's actually our doing. We could say, oh, darn, we just don't have enough jobs. Well, we need to look at how is the approval process to get jobs approved through the municipalities? How are we incentivizing new development to actually occur? Because, I could help thousands of people get off the street, dust them off, get them ready to you. But unless we have projects and development and work for them, it doesn't work. So, one of the reasons I'm running for city council is we need to have more projects. We don't need to crush development. We need to help support development. And once it's happening, we need to make it more efficient. So capital isn't tied up, so they can do projects, they can finish them, and they can get on to the next one. And I recognize that some of that onus is within the city of Las Vegas. And I would like to make changes there to have it become more efficient and to no longer be number 1 in urban unemployment. That's crazy.
I agree with you so much, because I've been saying that whole thing too. Like, everybody is looking at the strip, and I get that. I said, but wait a minute, you have people that need housing. We need little strip malls. We need things to be built that are out here, because I don't go to the strip. I don't really do that unless family come or something, and I try not to even do that, but I know that probably shouldn't have been honest with that one. But I just think too, like, and then you claim, well, wait a minute, we don't have the workforce. Well, wait a minute, you're not supporting women in the trades that we can be grabbing and selling them and supporting them and helping them to get into these apprenticeships. But then you turn around and say, oh, well, but we don't have the jobs. Well, wait a minute, why are you not going after those strip malls that all this affordable housing around here and all that, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, I'm where you're at with that, because I'm trying to figure it out. Like, you can't complain about this, but you're not doing that, and you're not trying to change this. But then you say, oh, there's no work. Oh, there's no workforce. Oh my gosh, no, that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah, the unions are pretty clear that if there's a workforce shortage, they will fill it. So to me, the problem is the work. You know, we need work, especially Ward 6. You know, we've grown a lot in the last decade. There's over 117,000 residents up there, but a lot of infrastructure isn't there yet. So we need the infrastructure for them. There's no hospital in Ward 6. There aren't enough, even just stores. So we need to build up the infrastructure to help support the residents there. And it's important when they come for city approval that the negotiations take place to end up using local labor as opposed to, you know, letting it be contracted out and being penny wise but pound foolish.
Yeah, that outsourcing. I said something about outsourcing when I started Nevada Women Trades, and everybody told me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're being this way. And I'm like, no, I said, y'all keep outsourcing. You're finna really mess up everything here. And look what's happening. Every time we did, like even the library on MOK in Lake Mead, that was outsourced. That wasn't local. That's
crazy that a municipal project wouldn't have either a PLA or some agreement to make sure that this public money that went in to build a public facility didn't use local workers.
Well, there's unions either, though. It wasn't even unions. It was. Oh yeah, it was kind of.
That does not make sense to me.
Now, it was kind of, and that's the. But again, you still have to go after that. You still can't sit here and say, "Oh, we can't." Oh no, you still have to go after that. You can't again sit and say, "Oh well, this ain't happening." But if you didn't make a move to go after it. Right. I'm just trying to, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's what I'm trying to say. You just can't. You can't.
Well, I'll assure you there won't be municipal work in Ward 6 without having it be labor driven.
Okay. And then I want to ask you, since we're going there, we're going to go there. And will you in the future also think about having a certain amount of women on those jobs, or having women contractors, or even making sure that veterans can play a part in that somehow? So I would like that when you get in there and you win, that you would include women veterans in the things that you're doing.
Let me answer that truthfully. Before I ran this rehab I talked about, I was a CEO over at Sierra Health Services. I helped run the HMO, run the insurance company, and I became very familiar with well-intentioned government regulations that ended up increasing the cost of healthcare very steadily. So I 100% want to support veterans. My kid is active duty. My wife is a 8-year Marine Corps veteran. We're a very proud pro-veteran household.
Yes, you are.
And family, and have grown up that way. But I would want to work, maybe with a PLA agreement to not hamstring that. If we said 17% would be veterans and and 42% would be females. I don't want to make it more cumbersome and help more expensive. I certainly want to encourage, women to be part of these jobs, and more, just as much so veterans. But I don't want to make things so cumbersome that it ends up impeding development. So to me, I'm going to be leaning on the various unions to say, what's something that could be done to help encourage this, but isn't going to make this more complicated, more difficult, or more expensive. Because
I even agree with you on that. We don't want it to where it's impeding, but there's already a percentage already out here for to have contractors and women, like the A Stadium has already got that contract. Certain things have already have those numbers in there already. Great. So we don't want to make it to where it's a whole, no, we don't want to do that, but just do the regular, a percentage here or making sure that we get a percentage there. And so I agree with we don't want to get crazy with it, but just do the norm numbers that are already on the books that are there already.
Agreed. I met with the Clark County Schools superintendent, and we were talking with her about why not, when you're building new schools, why not have a certain percentage of people who went to Clark County School District that are on the job, which ends up raising the value of a CCSD diploma. If you know that a certain amount of people who went to our schools, we want them working on our jobs, that helps. It helps the whole system. And to me, Las Vegas it's sort of an island where there's the Mojave Desert all around. So we have to be very conscious of supporting our community and the women in our community and the veterans in our community and people who went to our schools.
Yeah, I mean, doing the Clark County school thing, that might be kind of difficult to figure that one out. But I just to make sure that we're not leaving no one behind, and you know exactly what I mean by that.
I do.
This community needs to stay the way we are and help who we are in this community. People often, they say, "Oh, well, what about Arizona? What about?" I said, to be really frank with you, I said, I don't care what they're doing over there. I care about what Nevada is doing.
Yeah, it's our community. It's where we live. And, not to keep saying this, but we're number one in unemployment. And to me, if a certain percentage of our neighbors don't have work, that is a very serious problem for us. And we need to make sure that, our residents are the ones we're helping put to work as we do new jobs and as we have new development and as we grow.
Of course. Yes. You still didn't answer about the doctor. You said you went to a class and then you kind of skipped over a little bit. And so when did you get your doctorate?
Well, when I came to Las Vegas, I had graduated from college. This is in 1987. And after a few years of working, I ended up enrolling in UNLV. And I got an MBA, a master's in business administration, and it really helped me rise up in business. Many years later, I got clean and sober. On 5/15 of 2005, I had my last drink, and I haven't had a drink or a drug since then. And to me, I very quickly wanted to become a drug and alcohol counselor to help people. So I went back to UNLV, and I got another master's degree in community mental health counseling. As I then opened up a drug rehab. I was helping thousands of people get clean. And I recognized that there was more to learn, and I wanted to be the best I could be to be able to help my patients. So I enrolled in a doctoral program, and it took me 5 years, but I got a doctorate in psychology focusing in addictive disorders. And it's really helped me have all the information, or as much of the information as my brain can handle, to be able to be of maximum service. because I want to help our clients to the best of my ability. So I earned that doctorate. And I have a bunch of stories, but one is when I got the doctorate, I thought, a light would change or something would be dramatic differently. All of a sudden I'd be Dr. Marlon and but nothing changed. I'm still Dave. I still want to help people any way I can. I did a lot of studying. I wrote a dissertation and I read a lot and that was helpful. But it didn't change who I am. It just gave me access to more information and it certainly improved my writing.
Wow. Yeah, because we just seen each other last week at the North Las Vegas homeless census count. And when I came in, I was like, well, wait a minute, what are you doing in here?
Yeah, why are you up at 3 o'clock in the morning counting the unhoused?
and I took a picture of you and your team and I wanted you to know I posted you on Facebook and all of that. I got you. I got four pages and I put you on all my Facebook and my Instagram and my LinkedIn. So you're on 4 of my media posts. I put you on there and
well, I appreciate it. I recognized when I watched City Hall make a $635 million mistake with the Badlands Golf Course. And then I watched them say, oh, we'll just settle this. We'll just write them a check. And then they all voted to write a check. And I realized that they didn't write a check with their money. They wrote a check with our money. And it upset me. And it made me realize that I have a lot of executive management insurance experience, that somebody needs to be a good steward of our taxpayer dollars. So rather than, throwing my slipper at the TV and wanting something better, what I said is, I'm going to run for office and I'm going to try to see if we could be more efficient with our money. And I'm also going to see if I could help reduce some of this unemployment by making it easier for jobs to get through, to be more efficient, to make sure that when we do approve municipal jobs, that we make sure there's a PLA or there's a solid labor component. And it's funny because I've been talking to everybody. I met with the Chamber of Commerce and I let them know, I'm going to be a pro-union candidate. And they said, Dave, we are fine with municipal jobs over a threshold. And I said, like $50,000. And the chamber said to me, no, 100,000 is fine. And I said, well, as long as you understand that as a municipality, any jobs that we would be approving would be union jobs. That they agreed, I agree. And, to me, you could write that down.
That is so beautiful. And so while we're on the subject, can you tell everybody what you plan on doing? And again, if they didn't hear it to begin with, what area you're running in, what in your email and where they can send donations. I mean, all that good stuff.
Yes. I'm running to be the city council representative to the residents of Ward 6. And Ward 6 is the very northwest of Las Vegas. I got a little map right here.
I love it.
This is the 95. Here's Farm Road. Here's Lone Mountain. Here's Decatur. So this northwest quadrant in the far part of Las Vegas, it is one of the 6 city council people is representing that ward. And I'm seeking to represent the residents of that ward and to make sure that we balance the fact that it's a rural ward and we appreciate our open spaces. But at the same time, we also recognize that there's a lot of infrastructure that hasn't been put in place yet that we need. We need substations for the police and the fire department. And we probably need a hospital or more medical centers. We certainly need, more shopping. And the fact that I've seen the current incumbent not approve more than half a dozen projects, I recognize it's directly related to unemployment, that we need to approve projects so we can get jobs. We need to put people back to work so they could be okay. In addition, I run a nonprofit that's reducing homelessness. In the last 3 years, I've seen the unhoused creep into Ward 6. So not only are there a lot of them downtown, but they're now also in the Northwest, and people shouldn't be camping up in the Northwest. We should be able to direct them to integrated behavioral health so we can help get them well, so they can become self-supporting again. It increases crime. It's unsanitary. It's not healthy for them. It's not healthy for our families. It's not healthy for Las Vegas in general. So, I want to.
Well, can you just give us your website and whatever other information we need to have to be
Thank
able
you.
to?
It's DaveForVegas.com. DaveForVegas.com. That's me. Please check out my website. I'm running for Ward 6 City Council person.
And he needs all the donations. He needs time and helping with phone calls and helping with door knocking. He needs all of that. And if any of you would love to support him, it would be great for all of you to support.
Thank you, Evelyn. It's the Northwest. So I'm particularly focused in representing those 117,000 people. So if you live in the Northwest, please reach out to me. I want to hear from you. I want to make sure I understand your wishes and I could operate so you feel comfortable and you feel that you have a person that you could talk to. And if there's a street light out, if there's a pothole that needs to be fixed, if there's a sign, I'm an accessible person. I have an email at daveforvegas.com. I post my phone number. I have a dinner every month and I invite anybody who wants to come, and I feed everybody who comes. I have a coffee every month and I buy everybody who comes a coffee. The coffee event is this Saturday, but I do that every month, and I'm going to keep doing it once y'all elect me, because I want to be approachable. So one, I know what your issues are, and two, you understand, where I'm coming from and what's going on. So being able to communicate is really important to me, and I'm an accessible person.
Oh, I love it. I love it, everybody. Everybody just heard everything, and this was such a great interview podcast today. And again, everybody go check out Nevada Women in Trades on www.nevadawit.org. And we're here every first and third Wednesday at 7 p.m. Please check us out live streaming. And thank you again, Dr. Dave Marlon, for coming on tonight and telling all of Las Vegas why we need to vote for you in Ward 6. And the mission statement is, of course, thank you. And we're going to have you on again, too. And the mission statement is for us to empower women and to hold hands as we rise.
Beautiful.
This podcast is brought to you by Envision U. Envision U has discovered how to impact spirit, body, and soul with spray technology in just 30 seconds. With Envision U, you can achieve optimal health and start living the life you have always dreamed of. Use the promo code EnvisionU.com/VernDix to take control of your health naturally. PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.